In the lively village of Jianghua, where colorful markets buzzed with laughter and the scent of spices filled the air, Amina felt like she was wearing a mask. Everyone around her expected her to fit in, to follow the rules of what was normal. But deep down, Amina's heart beat for Nia, her best friend who had the brightest smile and the kindest heart. Amina kept pretending she liked boys, telling stories that weren't true just to avoid the whispers and curious looks from her neighbors. As the days went by, the weight of her secret grew heavier, making her feel like she was carrying a boulder on her back. Amina often found herself daydreaming about the moment she could be honest with everyone, but fear held her back. One day, during a village gathering under the big, shady mango tree, she knew she couldn't hide anymore. When she finally spoke her truth, it sent shockwaves through the crowd. The villagers had to face their own beliefs and the way they treated people who were different. Amina's brave choice sparked important conversations about love and acceptance in Jianghua, but it also left her wondering, would her community embrace her for who she really was, or would they turn away? The challenges ahead would change everything for Amina and the people she loved. Amina wore a bright smile, but inside she felt like a bird trapped in a cage. In her village, everyone had a say in who she should love. She pretended to be happy with Kofi, a man everyone respected, but in her heart she longed for Nia, her childhood friend. Every day was a performance. Amina laughed with Kofi, but her heart ached for Nia. The pressure to fit in was heavy. It felt like a rock sitting on her chest. She watched others find joy and love, while she felt alone, like a shadow in the corner. Her family expected her to follow the rules, and the thought of disappointing them made her stomach twist. As the annual festival approached, excitement buzzed in the air. People danced and love stories unfolded, but Amina felt trapped. Each dance felt like a lie. She wanted to be true to herself, but fear held her back. What if they didn't accept her? The fear of rejection loomed like a dark cloud. One day during the festival, Amina found herself at a crossroads. She saw Nia laughing with friends and her heart raced. What if I just spoke my truth? Amina thought. She took a deep breath and made her choice. Hey, Nia? Amina called, her voice steady. Nia turned, surprised. Can we talk? Amina's heart raced as they stepped away from the crowd. I need to tell you something, Amina said. I've been pretending I like you, not Kofi. Nia's eyes widened, but then a smile broke across her face. I've felt the same way, Amina. I thought I was alone. In that moment, the weight on Amina's chest lifted. She felt light, free, like the bird ready to soar. They decided to face the world together, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. No more hiding. This was just the beginning of their adventure. Amina felt trapped. The voices around her buzzed with excitement, but inside she was in turmoil. Everyone was talking about the festival. Everyone except her. Her heart raced as she watched her friends laugh and dance, following the traditions of their families. She wanted to join them, but she was hiding a secret. A big secret. She loved Nia, her best friend. But in her village, that was not okay. Amina's hands shook when she thought about telling anyone. What would they say? Would they turn their backs on her? Why do you look so sad? Nia asked, pulling Amina from her thoughts. I'm fine, Amina lied, forcing a smile. But deep down, she felt like a fraud. Each smile was a mask, hiding her true self. That night, Amina lay awake, the stars twinkling. Above, she thought of the festival. I can't keep hiding, she whispered to herself. I need to be brave. The next day, Amina watched everyone prepare for the festival. Her friends were excited. They wore beautiful clothes and shared stories. But Amina felt heavy. She wanted to join them, to feel free, but fear held her back. Then, she saw Nia across the crowd. Nia's laughter rang out, bright as the sun. Amina's heart raced. She took a deep breath. I have to tell her, she decided. With each step towards Nia, Amina's heart pounded. Would this change everything? She reached Nia, her voice trembling. "Can we talk?" Nia nodded, her eyes curious. They stepped aside, away from the noise. Amina's throat felt dry. "I need to tell you something important," she said. "What is it?" Nia asked, her brow furrowing. "I like you. More than a friend," Amina admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Nia's eyes widened. "Really?" she asked, surprised. "Yes," Amina said, her heart racing. "I was scared to tell you. I thought you might not want to be friends anymore." Nia smiled softly. "You're brave for saying that. I like you too." Amina felt a rush of relief. Maybe she wouldn't lose everything, after all. Just then, a loud cheer erupted from the festival. The friends called for them to join. Amina took Nia's hand, feeling a spark of courage. Together they walked back, hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next. The festival awaited them, full of surprises. Amina knew she had made the right choice. The future was uncertain, but now it felt bright. Amina's heart raced as she confessed her feelings to Nia. It felt good to finally say the words, but a dark cloud hung over her. The fear of what might happen next pulled at her like a heavy weight. She had always been told love should follow the rules. Those rules felt like chains holding her back. As Amina and Nia exchanged shy glances, Amina couldn't shake the feeling of regret. She wished she had spoken up sooner, but the fear of being rejected by her family and friends kept her quiet. Each secret moment with Nia was like hiding a treasure, but it could be discovered at any time. Amina wanted to shout her love from the rooftops, but the world around her felt unforgiving. Amina knew she had to make a choice between being true to herself and risking everything. Each step she took felt like walking on a tightrope. She wanted to break free from the shadows, but what if it all came crashing down? Suddenly, Nia took a bold step forward. "Amina," she said, her voice steady, "we can't keep hiding. We deserve to be happy." Amina's heart skipped a beat. Nia's words ignited a spark of courage within her. Maybe it was time to stand up for their love. With a deep breath, Amina nodded. "You're right. Let's show the world who we are." They clasped hands, ready to face whatever came their way. The shadows that had loomed over them began to fade as they took their first step toward freedom. But as they walked together, challenges awaited. Would their families accept them? Could they find happiness in a world that might not understand? Amina felt a mix of fear and excitement. Together they would find out. Amina and Nia walked into the Festival of Unity. Laughter and music filled the air, but Amina felt heavy inside. The festival was supposed to bring people together, but it reminded her of a secret she kept. As they moved through the crowd, Amina felt regret. She had pretended to be someone she wasn't. Around her, families and friends cheered and danced. Amina watched them but felt out of place. Each smile felt like a reminder of the truth she hid. She wanted to join in, but the shadows of her past loomed over her. "Let's dance," Nia shouted, pulling Amina closer to the music. Amina hesitated but followed. As they swayed to the rhythm, Amina remembered the brave people who lived their truth. She wished she could be like them, celebrated for who she was. But fear held her back. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Amina, come join us." It was her cousin Fatima waving her over. Amina's heart raced. The crowd was inviting, but the thought of revealing her truth made her freeze. "Come on, don't be shy," Fatima encouraged. Amina took a deep breath. Maybe this was her chance. With every step, she felt the weight of her secret lifting. The music pulsed around her, calling her to be free. "Let's show them what we've got," Nia said, spinning into the crowd. Amina nodded, determination shining in her eyes. She joined Nia, and together they danced with wild abandon. Laughter bubbled up inside her. As they twirled, Amina felt a spark of hope. She might not be ready to reveal everything, but she could start by being herself. The festival continued, filled with energy and joy. Amina knew she had a choice to make. The path would be tough, but she was ready to face it. Amina felt the weight of expectations pressing down on her. Everyone in the village of Jianghua wanted her to be perfect, to follow their rules. It was like wearing a heavy mask that everyone loved but made her feel trapped. At the Festival of Unity, she danced with Kofi. The crowd cheered, but inside, Amina felt empty. Each clap reminded her that she was pretending. She acted straight to please others, but it hurt. She wanted to be free to love who she wanted, but fear held her back. The pressure from her family was strong. She didn't want to disappoint them, but their expectations chained her. In her quiet moments, she dreamed of breaking free. She wanted to show her true self, but how? As the festival ended, a plan formed in her mind. She would speak her truth no matter the risk. Amina took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came. Next, it was time to be brave. Amina's heart raced as she walked toward her family. She had a secret that felt heavy inside her. Mama Zuri's words echoed in her mind. The truth is like the sun. It cannot be hidden for long. Amina thought about the lies she had told. She had hoped they would help her fit in, but now, with her betrothal coming soon, the truth was about to explode. Each step felt harder. Doubt and fear tangled in her mind. She remembered Nia's laughter and how much they cared for each other. Amina had hidden that love, but now she knew she had to be brave. Would her family accept her for who she really was? Would they forgive her for breaking tradition? As she stepped into the house, the air felt thick. Amina could feel the tension. Her heart pounded. Mama Zuri's warning rang in her ears. Living a lie only causes pain. She took a deep breath. It was time to reveal her secret. The moment was now. I have something to tell you, Amina said, her voice steady. Her family turned to look at her, curiosity and concern on their faces. I love Nia, she declared. Gasps filled the room. Amina's heart raced even faster. How can you say that? Her brother shouted. Amina stood tall. This is who I am. She replied, her voice firm. Her mother looked shocked. But what about your betrothal? I can't live a lie anymore, Amina said. I want to be true to myself. Silence hung in the air. Amina felt the weight of their stares. Then, her little sister spoke. I think love is more important than traditions. Amina felt a spark of hope. Her brother frowned but stayed quiet. Amina took another deep breath. Please, just listen to me, she urged. As she shared her heart, she noticed the tension in the room shift. Could her family accept her truth? Would they stand by her side? The storm was just beginning, and Amina was ready for whatever came next. Amina took a deep breath. She had just told her family she loved Nia, and the room froze. Her parents stared at her in shock. They had always planned for Amina to marry Kofi, a strong and respected man. They believed that marrying Kofi would make their family proud and keep their traditions alive. Why would you choose her? Her, Brother Abbasi shouted, his face red with anger. This will bring shame to our family. Amina felt a lump in her throat. But I love her, she shouted back. Isn't that what matters? Her parents shook their heads. You don't understand, Amina. This is not just about you. It's about our family's honor. Amina's heart raced. She could feel the weight of expectations pressing down on her. I can't marry someone I don't love, she cried. The room fell silent. Amina's heart pounded. She knew she was risking everything. But deep down, she felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, her family would come to understand. Listen, she said, her voice steady. I want to be happy. I deserve that. We all deserve happiness. Her parents exchanged worried glances. This will not be easy, her mother finally said. I know, Amina replied, determination filling her. But I'm ready to fight for what I believe in. Abbasi crossed his arms, still fuming. You're being selfish. Am I? Amina shot back. Or am I just brave enough to stand up for my heart? Suddenly, the door swung open. It was Nia, looking worried. Amina, I heard shouting. What's wrong? Amina felt a mix of fear and courage. I just told my family about us. Nia's eyes widened. What did they say? They're not happy, Amina admitted, but I won't back down. Nia stepped forward. Then I won't either. We can face this together. Amina smiled, feeling the warmth of Nia's support. Together, she agreed. Abbasi shook his head in disbelief. You both are making a huge mistake. Or maybe we're making the right choice, Amina countered. The world is changing. Love should come first. Her parents looked at each other, uncertain. Amina's heart raced. Would they accept her? Please, just give us a chance, Nia pleaded. The tension in the room hung heavy. Amina held her breath, waiting for their answer. Would her family open their hearts to a new possibility? Amina stood tall, ready to face her family. They would not understand her truth, but she had to speak. I cannot live a lie anymore, she declared. Silence filled the room. Eyes widened in shock. She felt the tension rise. Her father's face darkened. How could you betray us? He shouted. Amina felt the heat of anger, but held her ground. I'm not betraying you. I'm being myself. Outside, the whispers began. The community was watching. Rumors spread like wildfire. Amina could feel their judgment. What will they say about me? She wondered. But she pushed those thoughts aside. She had made her choice. Why should we accept you? Her brother asked, crossing his arms. You're bringing shame to our name. Amina took a deep breath. Shame? No, I bring hope. Hope for a better future. Suddenly her mother spoke. You're breaking our hearts, Amina. Amina's heart raced. I know it hurts, but it hurts me too. Can't we talk about this? Can't we find a way to understand each other? Her family shifted. The air was thick with uncertainty. Then a neighbor chimed in. Amina is brave. Maybe we should listen. The room froze. What do you mean? Her father asked, clearly confused. Change is hard, the neighbor said. But we can learn. We can grow. Amina felt a spark of hope. Maybe this was the start of something new. More voices joined in. Some supported her, while others remained skeptical. The room buzzed with energy. Amina could see the cracks forming in the old ways of thinking. Let's not tear each other apart, Amina urged. We can talk, we can change together. And just like that, the conversation shifted. It was messy and loud, filled with disagreement, but it was alive. Amina's heart raced with each word spoken. She knew this was just the beginning of a long journey, but she was ready to take the first step. Amina stood before her family, her heart racing. She had spent years lying about her feelings for Kofi. Now, the truth weighed heavily on her. She had hoped for acceptance, but it felt like a heavy burden instead. Why did you lie, Amina? Her brother asked, confusion on his face. I thought it would make things easier, she said, her voice shaking. But the truth clawed at her insides. She loved Nia, and hiding that felt unbearable. Who is Nia? Her mother demanded, eyes wide with shock. Amina took a deep breath. She's the one I really love, not Kofi. The room fell silent. The tension was thick, like a storm ready to break. What will the village think? Her father said. Worry etched across his face. I don't care, Amina said, feeling stronger. I want to be true to myself. But you'll lose everything, her sister cried. Or gain everything, Amina shot back. I can't keep living a lie. The air crackled with anticipation. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the next move. Amina felt bold. She knew the risk, but she also knew the cost of silence. Support me or not, this is who I am, she declared. The storm inside her finally broke, and she felt free. No more lies, no more pretending. Then we need to talk about this, her father said slowly. Amina nodded, ready to face whatever came next. Whispers of Amina's secret zipped through Jianghua like a wild wind. The village split into two sides. Some villagers held tight to old traditions. They feared that Amina's truth would tear their beliefs apart. They huddled together recalling tales of shame from long ago. They worried about what would happen if they accepted love that broke their rules. On the other side, some villagers felt a spark of courage. They admired Amina for being true to herself. They thought, how can we turn our backs on her? Love in all its forms deserved respect. But the air was thick with tension. Friends and families stood on opposite sides, unsure of what to do next. Parents were worried about their kids. They feared Amina's bravery might lead to hurt. Friends froze in silence, not knowing how to support her. With every day, the divide grew wider, echoing love, fear, and doubt. As Amina walked through the village, she saw familiar faces filled with confusion. She felt the weight of her choice. Truth could set you free, but it often came with a cost. The struggle for acceptance pulsed through Jianghua, and everyone felt the pressure to choose a side. One day, a storm rolled in, bringing heavy rain and dark clouds. The villagers gathered in the marketplace for shelter. Amina saw her chance. She stood on a crate and shouted, "We are all part of this community. We can support each other." The crowd fell silent, eyes on her. "We all have our own truths," she continued. "Why can't we celebrate them together?" Some villagers nodded, but others frowned. Tension crackled. A brave young boy shouted, "I stand with Amina." His voice rang out, cutting through the gloom. More voices joined in. "Me too," said a girl, stepping forward. Soon, a small wave of support rippled through the crowd, but the opposition was strong. An elder stepped forward, shaking his head. "This is not how we do things here." Amina took a deep breath. "But maybe it's time for a change," she said. The rain poured down, but the villagers stood their ground. The storm outside matched the storm within their hearts, as they faced a choice that could change everything. Amina stood between fear and hope, but she found unexpected allies among her neighbors. They didn't just watch her struggle, they stepped in to help. Mama Zuri, with her wise words, offered understanding. Amina felt a bond, forming with those who embraced her truth. In the shadows of rejection, Amina made new friends. The baker slipped her extra pastries. The seamstress opened her shop as a safe space. Each small act of kindness reminded Amina that some people in Jianghua stood by her. They recognized the weight she carried. As Amina shared her story, others began to speak up too. They revealed their own fears and secrets. Many had faced similar battles, feeling lost when everyone else wanted them to fit in. These new connections shone a light in her darkest moments. Amina realized she wasn't alone. With her unexpected allies by her side, she began to feel a sense of belonging. Their support gave her strength. Together, they faced each challenge, ready to carve out a future filled with love and acceptance. But then a new twist came. Rumors spread about Amina's truth. Some villagers were not kind. They whispered behind her back and tried to pull her down. Amina knew she had to act. With her allies rallying around her, she planned a bold move. She wouldn't let fear silence her. "Let's show them who we are," Amina said, her voice strong. The baker nodded, the seamstress smiled, and Mama Zuri stood tall. They were ready to fight for their truth. Together they marched into the village square. Amina stood in front of everyone. "I will not hide," she shouted. The crowd fell silent. Shocked faces stared back at her, but Amina felt a surge of courage. Suddenly, someone from the back of the crowd stepped forward. It was a quiet neighbor, someone Amina had never noticed before. "I'm with you, Amina," he called out. One by one, others joined him. A wave of support grew around Amina. The mystery of who would stand with her unfolded. Friends emerged from unexpected places. Amina felt the power of unity. Together they would face any challenge. The story was just beginning. Amina stood tall, ready for the healing ceremony. The villagers gathered, their eyes filled with a mix of worry and hope. Mama Zuri, the wise elder, spoke clearly. "Today we share our truths. We heal together." The crowd formed a circle. Amina took a deep breath. She felt the weight of her secret. "I have something to say," she began. "I've hidden my love for too long." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some frowned while others leaned in closer. "I loved someone different," Amina continued. "I was scared of what you might think." She looked around, searching for understanding, but I can't hide anymore. The air grew thick with tension. A man shouted, "This isn't right!" Amina's heart raced. "But it is my truth," she replied, her voice strong. One by one, villagers began to speak. A woman shared her own secret. "I was afraid too. I wanted to love freely." Another man stood up. "I thought I was alone in this." The circle buzzed with energy. Some faces softened. Others stayed hard. Mama Zuri raised her hand. "Listen, everyone," she said, her voice calm. "Change is hard, but it starts here." Amina felt a spark of hope. More villagers spoke up, sharing their stories. The air shifted. Walls began to break down. As the sun set, the shadows danced around them. Amina felt lighter. Tears flowed, but they were tears of release. "We can support each other," she said. "Let's build a place of love." The villagers nodded, some still unsure, but many smiled. A bond formed. Together they took steps toward understanding. Amina knew this was just the beginning. They were ready to embrace their truths, ready to fight for their love. The night deepened, but hope shone bright. Amina stood tall, ready to face the truth. She had kept a secret for too long, hiding behind a mask of fear. Today was different. Today she would share her story. Her heart raced as she spoke, and she felt both scared and free. The words spilled out, and she found a surprising power in her vulnerability. But not everyone welcomed her honesty. Amina's family and friends reacted with disappointment. Their harsh words hit her like arrows. She felt pain, but she also felt something else: strength. Each tear she shed was like a badge of courage. Amina realized her truth could spark change. As she faced the backlash, Amina didn't back down. Instead, she stood firm. "This is who I am," she declared. Her voice rang out, echoing in the air. Others began to listen. They started to question their own beliefs. Conversations ignited like fire, spreading through the community. Amina's bravery became a beacon. People whispered about her courage and felt inspired. They began to share their own secrets, and slowly, the walls of fear started to crumble. Amina watched as new connections formed, and the village transformed before her eyes. No longer alone, Amina felt a surge of hope. She knew this journey wouldn't be easy, but she was ready for whatever came next. Each step forward was a step toward a brighter future. And with every bold decision she made, she brought others along, turning fear into courage and secrets into strength. The story was still unfolding, and Amina was determined to be the author of her own fate. Amina's truth spread like wildfire. In every corner of Jianghua, people began to talk about acceptance. Families gathered, debating and discussing. Some were confused, others scared. Amina's brave choice forced everyone to think about love and identity. As the discussions grew, tensions flared. Some villagers clung to old beliefs. They frowned and shook their heads, struggling to understand love that didn't fit the norm. The elders stepped in, hoping to guide the younger ones. They knew change was hard, but believed everyone should feel valued. But regret also hung in the air. Amina's family felt heavy with guilt. They wished they had reacted differently. Jianghua felt divided, reflecting the messy nature of human relationships. Amina had sparked a fire, but the path was rocky. With each talk, villagers slowly began to see that love comes in many forms. It was a tough journey, but Amina's courage lit the way. Understanding started to grow, giving everyone a chance at a more accepting future. The conversations continued, each one pushing the village closer to acceptance, one bold step at a time. Amina listened closely as her friends talked about acceptance. A spark lit up inside her. She knew it was time to embrace her true self. For years, she had hidden behind a mask. She had followed rules that felt wrong. When she pretended to love Kofi, it reminded her of the love she held for Nia, which made her heart ache. Breaking free from what was expected felt scary. Amina understood that being real would bring challenges. She needed to be brave. When she finally shared her truth, her family reacted with shock. Their faces were filled with confusion. Amina felt a sting of rejection, but she pressed on. "Why can't you just be like everyone else?" her brother shouted, but Amina stood tall. "Because I can't hide anymore," she replied firmly. As she spoke, something amazing happened. Others began to listen. They started questioning their own beliefs. Amina's words sparked conversations in the community. People began to think about love and acceptance in new ways. Amina saw hope grow. She inspired others to be true to themselves. With each brave step she took, the world around her changed. The journey was tough, but Amina knew she was not just fighting for herself. She was lighting a path for everyone who felt lost. The adventure was far from over, and Amina was ready for whatever came next.